Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis prepare to enter negotiations for a fight with
Gervonta Davis has now made his intentions clear, naming Shakur Stevenson as the opponent he wants next and setting the stage for a high-stakes showdown between two elite southpaws. As other possible matchups start to fade into the background, these two fighters have moved to the center of the conversation and are now viewed as the fight fans are watching most closely while waiting to see if it finally becomes official.
Because Stevenson is that difficult because of his style, because of his abilities, because of his eyes, because of his, his legs and his hand speed, the way that he controls range. Tank Davis is the only guy that I can see that could possibly decipher that style and beat Shakur
Stevenson. A lot of people have been talking about him and whether or not you're going to fight him down the road. What do you see in terms of in the ring, who you'll go up against, assuming you win Saturday night, which most people assume will happen, okay? Who do you see yourself as a big fight going up against, the marquee fight for you?
To be honest, all them guys, I would say it's not no Pacific name that I would say that's good for me. I feel like me sharing the ring with all them guys would be big, so hopefully, in the future probably
More than a year after returning to action, the Baltimore superstar reminded everyone exactly why he continues to be one of boxing's biggest draws with a commanding win over Frank Martin at the MGM Grand. Holding a version of the lightweight title since 2019, the conversation quickly shifted towards something far greater, a long-awaited unification clash. Names like Vasily Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson immediately entered the spotlight alongside other top contenders in the division. For a brief stretch, the Lomachenko fight appeared to be gaining serious momentum, and fans started to believe it was finally within reach. But just as anticipation peaked, everything suddenly came to a halt when news broke that Lomachenko had stepped away due to personal reasons, leaving uncertainty hanging over the division. That pause didn't last long, as attention quickly turned to Shakur Stevenson, and talk of a Davis versus Stevenson showdown began to intensify, with both sides reportedly sending positive signals and public comments suggesting genuine interest in making it happen next. Adding even more intrigue is their shared past, with multiple sparring sessions over the years, including a notable extended session back in 2017, which only raises curiosity about how a real fight would unfold under the bright lights. Even Davis's trainer Kenny Ellis is believed to see Stevenson as the logical next move following the collapse of the Lomachenko situation, while Stevenson himself, fresh off a successful title defense, is actively chasing the biggest challenge available. Any past sparring stories would quickly become irrelevant if both camps move forward seriously, because this is the type of matchup fans have been demanding for years, and Stevenson has already labeled it as one of the biggest fights boxing can offer today, expecting massive nationwide attention if finalized. Davis has also previously mentioned Stevenson as a target, and now everything seems to be aligning at the perfect time, with both fighters at their peak and fan demand at its highest. Stylistically, it presents a perfect clash between two elite fighters capable of forcing constant adjustments and delivering high-level action inside the ring. However, the real obstacle lies not in the excitement but in the business side, especially now that Stevenson is a free agent, which means any deal would require complex negotiations involving purses, broadcasting rights, sponsorships, and promotional control. Meanwhile, the Lomachenko situation still lingers in the background, as Stevenson has also shown interest in that fight, and there are ongoing discussions that Lomachenko could return in 2025 depending on how things unfold, keeping another major option alive in the division. For Lomachenko, any future appearance carries significant legacy value as he approaches the later stages of his career, and promoter Bob Arum has hinted at a possible return, although no opponent has been confirmed with several major opportunities still available. Some critics argue that if Lomachenko continues to pass on Davis, it will reignite debates about Tank's journey through the division, while others believe Davis has been guided carefully through matchmaking that has brought success but limited certain high-risk challenges outside major events like his fight with Ryan Garcia. Arum has also mentioned that Lomachenko has already secured his financial future, while Timothy Bradley has suggested retirement could be near if the drive is no longer there, although many point out the personal pressures Lomachenko faces outside the ring, particularly due to the ongoing situation in his home country, which can heavily influence a fighter's mindset. Bradley has still praised Lomachenko's achievements regardless of his next move, and many fans continue to believe he deserved undisputed status after his fight with Devin Haney, with his technical brilliance leaving a lasting impact on modern boxing. On the other side, Davis brings a completely different dynamic built on explosive power and knockout ability, making any potential matchup between these top names a fascinating stylistic contrast that fans are eager to witness. In the end, the lightweight division is filled with major possibilities and growing tension, but the biggest question remains unchanged. Which of these long-anticipated mega fights will actually be made and finally come to life?
Like you said, duck, that he ducked. I thought about it and I'm thinking like, I was hard on Fury when the negotiation kind of fell through with Usyk. So I gotta stay, neutral across the board, man. I gotta be fair across the board. You want to call this a duck? It's a duck. There's no doubt about it. It's literally a duck. But I think it's something deeper, man. And I keep saying that, but because Loma's the type of guy that don't duck any smoke. However, when I look at him and how he's been behaving as of late, I think about the fact that this isn't one time, this is twice. Now, Shakur Stevenson, I believe, was a part. Well, Shakur Stevenson was a part of, Top Rank at Loma. Shakur wanted that fight. There was no way that Top Rank was going. I guess they couldn't. Loma said he didn't want the fight. Pretty much said it. I didn't want the fight right now. So not only did he duck Shakur, he also ducked Tank. I think Loma knows that.
Shakur in the ring with Tank when he was young. And Tank said to me like, yo, this joker trying to get me. I said, that's how them young stunners is when they see a legend.
But Tank's a special talent. Shakur's a special talent.
Said that. Devin Dad said that. He's an animal. You know what I'm saying? So
he is an animal, but you need that in boxing if you want to win. 25-0, 24 knockouts is not a mistake.
You notice the stare down? Tank wasn't really trying to get you all.
You were up there. Tell me from your perspective, what happened up there?
No, it wasn't disrespectful. I told him
the
don't
stare
break.
was 3 minutes.
No, because Pitt wasn't breaking, so I told Tank don't break. That's
and
how
he
we
didn't.
get there. He ain't break. Then the guy kept telling Tank, you tell him to stop. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to break it, break them both up. You know what I'm saying? That is, look, so Tank just went on, turned around and put his hands up. Pitbull was right there. He's short. Wasn't personal. You know what I'm saying? You touch Tank, Tank can push you off.
Tank gave a little nudge, a little push, and he let him know it's business.
No, it's business. At the end of the day, he know how we get down.
Who won the first round, Calvin? Because Pitbull Cruz told me he's up 1-0 right now.
I can't tell. I don't.
No, he called that like round 1.
That wasn't round 1. Where was that?
No, the weigh-in.
The weigh-in, they both weighed in the same. They both made weight. They both stirred down. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in that. I like to see when them punches start flowing. When them joints start coming out.
Bradley also pointed.
Timothy Bradley recently shared the view that Vasily Lomachenko, now in his mid-30s, may seriously be thinking about walking away from boxing, even if fans still expect him to continue. From his perspective, fighters know their own limits better than anyone, and Lomachenko could be trying to avoid unnecessary damage as he moves deeper into the later stage of his career. He pointed to the Kambosos fight as a smart and calculated decision, one that gave him a strong chance at a title while also setting up the possibility of leaving the sport on a high note, suggesting this could be the closing chapter of an already legendary run. At the same time, the long-anticipated showdown between Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis has started to feel more realistic than ever, especially after Lomachenko's situation shifted and removed him from immediate plans. With that change, Davis's team began exploring new options, and Stevenson quickly rose to the top as the most logical opponent. What caught many off guard was the shift in tone from Team Davis, who had previously taken shots at Lomachenko but later began speaking more positively about Stevenson, fueling speculation that this fight could actually happen. Stevenson responded with confidence, making it clear he is ready for any challenge, which only added more excitement to the conversation. The matchup itself carries massive importance because it brings together two undefeated fighters in their prime, both riding strong momentum and widely regarded as elite in the division. Their past sparring experience adds another layer of intrigue, as neither fighter would be stepping into unfamiliar territory, raising the mental stakes even higher. For Stevenson, this could easily become the defining fight of his career, representing his biggest and toughest test so far. Even Terence Crawford has publicly encouraged him to face top-level opponents, emphasizing that these are the fights that truly define greatness, and in his view, a clash with Davis would answer every remaining question about Stevenson's level. Right now, Stevenson's team appears fully open to negotiations for a unification fight, with the next move largely depending on Davis's side. His status as a free agent gives him more freedom than ever before, allowing him to pursue the biggest opportunities without promotional limitations. Reports suggest that early discussions may have already taken place behind the scenes, although nothing official has been confirmed yet. Still, there is strong belief that if the financial terms and broadcast deals align, the fight can become a reality. Stevenson's camp believes his recent performances prove his value and expects any agreement to reflect his position as a world champion. Their main goal is clear: to unify the division by facing the very best. They also feel that past promotional ties may have delayed major opportunities, but those obstacles are no longer present. From their perspective, the issue is not finding worthy opponents but finalizing deals. Despite the uncertainty, they remain patient and confident that everything is moving toward a showdown with Davis. A fight of this scale would bring together two undefeated champions at the peak of their powers, backed by massive global interest and non-stop discussion online. Davis has already shown his ability to generate huge numbers and attention, while Stevenson would have the opportunity to silence critics who question his style and resume. In the end, everything now comes down to the business side, and if those final details fall into place, this could become the defining fight of the entire lightweight division.